New Chelsea owner Todd Boehly's proposal of a Premier League All-Star game has certainly raised some eyebrows, none more so than Jurgen Klopp's, but it really got us thinking here at Blood Red, how good could this game actually be? Obviously, it would be a largely unpopular event amongst the typical English football fan, with claims already slating Boehly for trying to Americanise the sport. That said, if such a match were to happen, what would it look like and what would Liverpool's involvement be? In this hypothetical scenario, we've split the 20 Premier League teams down the middle and divided them into northern and southern teams. So please don't bite our heads off in the comments for calling Midland teams northern, there's just so many teams from the south this season. Now we have our 10 sides for each All-Star team, comes the next problem with this question. If you're going to have a Premier League All-Star match, you need to include players from every side, otherwise you'll quickly end up with the top 6 just playing each other, and it could defer fans of other clubs further down the Premier League table. It's undeniable that were the selection process to match that of, say, the NBA, there would be an abundance of Liverpool players and City players for the northern side, so to make things more interesting, we've decided to set some rules for this. We're selecting at least one player from every club to play in the starting 11 for the All-Star game, to make sure that everyone is represented. Naturally, with a team of 11 there is one additional slot, meaning that one club will have 2 players starting. With that in mind, let's get to what you've all been waiting for, our blood red Premier League All-Star teams. Let's dive straight in with the north to see which Liverpool players have been chosen. Let's kick things off in goal, and we have Newcastle United's Nick Pope. Definitely reliable, he's one of the league's best keepers. Moving into the back four, starting at right back we have Timothy Castagne of Leicester, surprisingly a side who've gone from top 6 contenders to a relegation candidate, making it really difficult to select a player. Up next is Manchester United's Raphael Varane, a 4-time Champions League winner who you have to respect despite his current club. Make sure you play nice in the comments, everyone. We did have to pick a United player as per our rules. The next position was a tricky one to decide. We would have opted for Aston Villa new boy Diego Carlos, the £30 million signing from Sevilla, but he ruptured his Achilles tendon within a month of arriving, so instead we've gone for England international Tyrone Mings. And rounding off the side is one of Nottingham Forest's seemingly endless signings, Renan Lodi of Atletico Madrid, who is shockingly on loan at the West Midlands club, if you can recall his Champions League battles with Mo Salah last season for Atletico Madrid. Into the midfield, we simply had to pick Kevin De Bruyne, the best midfielder in the league, if not the world, and one of the league's star players is a shoo-in for this side. In the middle of the park, keeping things tight and ticking is rumoured Liverpool transfer target during the summer Ruben Neves of Wolves, a metronomic holding midfielder. Rounding off the midfield is perhaps a surprise shout, with Leeds new boy Brendan Aronson, who has electrified Jesse Marsch's midfield since reuniting with his compatriot from Red Bull Salzburg. Don't worry everyone, the Blood Red channel hasn't taken a turn for the worst, and up next we have Liverpool's contribution to the All-Star side. And let's be honest, if you hadn't guessed it by now, then we can't help you, as of course, it's Mohamed Salah. For me personally, he's the best player in the league. His goal scoring isn't quite at his usual heights yet, but he's the best winger in world football on current form, having created the most chances in Europe, and slowly but surely, his goal scoring form is returning. Once again, the very nature of this All-Star team pains me to say the next words, but you have to pick an Evertonian in the side under our rules to make sure everyone is represented, so the player we've chosen is Anthony Gordon. Gordon will occupy the left wing of this side, and despite many eyebrows being raised over the summer with Chelsea's failed bids, even up to a staggering £60 million, Gordon has proved his worth to our neighbours across Stanley Park so far this season. And rounding off the Northern All-Stars side, up front we have Erling Haaland. I did want to choose 2 Liverpool players to be the additional man in this starting 11, but you simply have to pick Haaland on his current form. He looks set to shatter almost every goal-scoring record in the league, taking it in his stride since his summer move, but let's see if he can remain injury-free, something he's failed to do in his career to date. To compare how this side would get on, we've also drafted an all-star team for the southern sides, which looks like this. Bernd Leno starts between the 6, a back four of Tino Livramento, Marcos Senesi, Kalidou Koulibaly and Alexander Zinchenko. We have a midfield pair of Pascal Gross and Declan Rice, joined on the wings by Wilfried Zaha and Heung-min Son, and then a strike partnership of Harry Kane and Ivan Toney rounding off their side in a slightly more attacking formation. But which is the better team? Let's compare each position to see how the match would play out on paper. It's a tricky one to open with the goalkeepers, but Nick Pope does take the edge over the match-deprived Bernd Leno. At right back, Timothy Castagne and Tino Livramento are very similar in terms of ability, but Livramento's previous season's form just gives him the edge on this one. In the centre-back positions, it's pretty easy as it's a point each for Rafael Varane and Kalidou Koulibaly as the standout pair. At left-back, despite Renan Lodi impressing for Atletico Madrid at points last season, Zinchenko definitely takes the points on this comparison with his brilliant start at Arsenal. In midfield, Kevin De Bruyne undeniably wins the points over Pascal Gross, Declan Rice takes the edge over Ruben Neves, and Wilfried Zaha takes the points over Brendan Aronson. And then into the attack is where this debate becomes controversial. Up first, we have Anthony Gordon and Ivan Toney, and despite the Evertonians' form at the start of the season, Toney has been immense for Brentford and deservingly takes the plaudits here. Liverpool's Egyptian king Mohamed Salah is next on the debate, and he's got a very tricky battle with Heung-min Son, with the pair sharing the Golden Boot last season. This is a tricky one, but Salah does have the edge. Even if we're trying to remain unbiased, he is simply the better player. An even trickier one next with Erling Haaland and Harry Kane facing each other. Kane with the Premier League pedigree and goal-scoring experience to back his claim, but Haaland is already tearing into the England internationals' records, with the Norwegian controversially taking the points here. Now remember, this is just one person's opinion, so if you disagree, be sure to let me know in the comments below. But based off this, the South shockingly take the narrow edge by 6 points to 5 when you compare the sides on paper, something that is sure to appeal to fans should such a fixture go ahead with two evenly balanced sides. Be sure to let us know your thoughts on the All-Star match and have a go yourselves at creating an All-Star 11. Remember, one player from each team has to start, and you can choose one more player from any club to round off the 11. Along with your comment, make sure you've liked and subscribed, and we'll pick some of our favourites from the comment section.